Lesson 2.5, percent of change. Percent of change is a ratio that compares the change in quantity to the original amount. So our equation, our percent of change, is the amount of change divided by our original amount. So when we find the amount of change, we can also say it's new minus original, which is the amount of change, divided by our original value. Okay, so if original quantity is increased, then it's called the percent increase. And if the original quantity is decreased, then it's called the percent of decrease. So if we go up, we're going to say it's an increase. If we go down, we're going to say it's a decrease. Okay, so if we go to example A, it says find the percent of change from 10 yards to 13 yards. So again, when I find my percent of change, I'm going to take new minus original divided by original. So then I fill in the pieces I know. What is my new value? Well, I had 10 and I went to 13, so my new value is 13, minus my original, which was at 10, and then I'm going to divide by my original. Okay? So when I go to simplify this, 13 minus 10 is 3 over 10. Then I need to simplify 3/10 because I want a percent of change, so this needs to be a percent. So I take 3 divided by 10 and I get 3/10. And 3/10 as a percent, we move our decimal point twice to the right, would be 30%. And then we always have to state, did it increase or decrease? Well, I was at 10 and I went to 13, so we would say this is a 30% increase. Okay, example B. The price of a radio was $20. It is on sale for $15. What is the percent of change in the price of the radio? So again, I want to know the percent of change. I start with my equation, new minus original divided by original. And again, I fill in the pieces I know. Well, the radio was $20, and it's on sale for $15. So if it was $20, that would be our original amount. So I can fill that in for the O's. And then it's on sale for $15. So that is now my new amount. So the new amount is 15 and it was originally 20. So again, I simplify these. 15 minus 20 is negative 5 over 20. And then we take 5 divided by 20 because again I want a percent. So when I divide those, I get negative 25 hundredths. And then when we go to put our percent, we can take the negative sign off. All the negative sign does is help us determine if it was an increase or decrease. So when we change our 25 hundredths to a percent, I move my decimal point 2 spots to the right. So we would get 25%. And then again, the negative shows that we went down. So we would say this was a 25% decrease. Or our value decreased by 25% when we put it on sale. Percent error. The percent error is a ratio that compares the inaccuracy of an estimate or amount of error to the actual amount. So when we do experiments, we find things, we want to know how big of an error did we have. So again, we have the amount of error over the actual amount. So we could also think of this as actual minus estimate divided by the actual amount. Okay, so how much do we have minus what did we estimate it by, and then divide it by our actual amount. So if we go to example C, it says to find the percent error if the estimate is $230 and the actual amount was $245. Round to the nearest whole percent. Okay, so again, I'm going to start with my equation, actual minus estimate divided by actual, and then I'm going to fill in the pieces I know. Well, I estimated 230 and it was actually 245. So my actual was 245 minus my estimate, which was 230. And then I'm going to divide that by my actual amount, which was 245. So again, I'm going to simplify this. 245 minus 230 is 15 over 245. And then I need to simplify that, so I divide numerator divided by denominator, and I would get 600. Again, I want a percent error, so I want to know what percent did I have an error by. So again, I got to change my decimal back to a percent, so I move it 2 spots to the right, or I take it times 100. So when I do that, I get 6%. And again, it said round to the nearest whole percent, which this is the nearest whole. So we would say we have a 6% error. So when we went to calculate our amount, we were under by 6%. We had an error of 6%. So again, to find the percent of change, you take new minus original divided by original. To find the percent error, it's actual minus estimate divided by actual. Then you fill in the pieces you know, and then you simplify it down, and you change it into a percent to figure out how much did we change by.